everyone, and welcome to our second episode of our little part of the internet, which, oddly enough, only features myself, Geoff, who was here last week, and also my colleague in action, Andy.
Hello there.
And, well, our usual little peon is, I don't know, I think we sent him for some coffee a couple of days ago and he's not returned, so
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
not
here
been
today.
seen. Probably gone stealing panties or whatever it is Brunies do nowadays.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Don't know what they get up to when. Right, so.
When your vengeful eye's not watching over them.
Yeah, so you got to keep your eye on them.
Yeah.
Keep your printies
Tricky
in
little
order.
fingers of Brunies.
Right, so.
Useful.
So let's talk reviews then.
Yeah. Well, I believe from next week, our third oldest member of staff will be joining us, Des.
Oh, so he's coming.
I believe so. Yeah, he mentioned it earlier. He's apparently he's had a few teeth out this week, so obviously he's a bit dubious about joining us on an audio. But from next week, we should have him on, and he'll be able to discuss more about his little portion of the site, which is he heads up the indie games.
Yeah,
So
just quite a few of the indie stuff out on a regular basis. He's
Yeah.
been a bit quiet, but that's because of his work.
part of the course.
Yeah.
Got work, and with summer all the releases dry up, indie or not.
Yeah, it's always the case.
But yeah, talking reviews as you said.
Yeah.
I believe you've been reviewing as well as I. We've been quite busy with reviews lately, actually.
Yeah, you've just put out one today.
Yeah, this goes out at weekend, so it'll be a couple of days old. But yeah, I put out Little Nightmares by Bandai Namco, made by the team. I believe it's the team who were behind Little Big Planet and Tearaway, or at least a lot of the key members.
Oh, that sounds pretty interesting. I didn't know that, to be honest.
Yeah, knowing's half the battle.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I received it last week and fortunately had enough time to give it a go through. Admittedly, it was a shorter title, but I think what benefited it for me is I actually had no prior knowledge whatsoever. I mean, as I was saying to you just before we started, I didn't even know we were actually going to get the game, and it turned up in this like nice little package, which initially terrified me because I had no idea what it was. I just received a package saying Little Nightmares. I'm like, oh, I've been signed up to a cult or something.
For some sort of Slipknot package or something.
Yeah, I think, if they released another album, thought they'd split up. Yeah, that turned up, and I jumped on it. I had no idea what to expect. I mean, you get a package where the first thing you see is a giant eye saying Little Nightmares and a pop-up of a chef trying to cut up a 9-year-old girl. Questions have to be asked.
Yeah, that's some excessive marketing.
Yeah. And honestly, I was very pleasantly surprised by the game. It's kind of like a horror puzzle platformer. Very, very, very tense. And it was one of the few times, because I know when I do reviews, I often, the format we've got for the site, if you're familiar with it, obviously you are, but for the listeners, is we generally tend to tackle like story or setting, then go on to graphics, then audio, gameplay, and then summary. Now, I know a lot of the time, despite actually starting reviewing, when I started reviewing, I started out reviewing music releases for DIY punk bands. But I often struggle when it comes to addressing the audio at times.
Yeah, it's one I usually struggle with as well.
But with Little Nightmares, the audio was one of the main factors of what actually helped the game be as good as it was. So that made it quite... to be honest, it was one of the easiest reviews I've had to write. Well, as you know, I took a month off due to being like life circumstances and just being a bit burnt out. But as soon as I started putting pen to paper, so to speak, it was done.
Good.
it's always good to when a review just flows.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can get a review where it's just you spend literally about 3 or 4 days just trying to
Try it,
nail the
yeah.
thing down. So then sometimes it can be quite difficult.
Yeah, there's been times where I've sat there staring at a review and I've done say around half of it. I've come back to it later and my train of thought is completely gone,
Yeah.
and it's so difficult to get back into that frame.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I'm reviewing games, I tend to take a lot of notes, like either on a notepad or on like my phone. Just write out little notes, and then sometimes it's, oh yeah, I remember what I was thinking at that point, and other times I'm like, why have I written that down? How am I going to include this? It's a nightmare.
No, I mean, I don't do notes, to be honest.
Oh,
It's kind of weird. I mean,
it's,
I write it steadily over, like, say we get the review key and
yeah,
the release date is like 2 weeks away. Then I'll
yeah,
play the game like for that week, and then I'll start writing it for like the week leading up to review. But then I'll keep playing the game as well during that week, so it keeps me refreshed. And then I'll gradually
yeah,
write it, and because we have it in the sections, I tend to write the sections. Like I'll write about the gameplay usually first, or graphics first,
yeah,
and the story and setting and all that. That usually comes at the end. I write that last because that's usually the bit that you have to spend the most time of the game with to get it right.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't do notes. I just do my reviews in sections, and it usually comes out all right. I mean, they
Yeah,
usually flow all right. So everyone just has their
well,
own way of doing it, don't they? So
yeah. That's one of the good things about us. Like, we don't have like a strict way of doing things, which a lot of our writers. I mean, we've had quite a large staff turn around considering how young the site is, but I tend to oversee a lot of the reviews, but I've never like fully. As long as you follow the format and the review reads well,
yeah,
then yeah, I'm happy. Everyone's got their own way of doing it.
yeah.
I
As
do
long as it
I
sticks
do
with.
find sometimes that having to actually score a game is a nightmare.
Yeah, especially when it's. I mean, it would make it easy if we had like point 0.5, but that's the point 0.5 just a cop out. I don't care what anyone
Yeah.
says. The point 0.5 score is a cop out, and
Yes.
it would make it really easy for some games. I mean, I've done some like Neptunia V2 for the
Yeah.
PS4 when I did that. I mean, it was great. Obviously, I'm pretty much a Neptunia fanboy, but it played it a little too safe, so I was kind of like hovering between a 6 and a 7, and I eventually
Yeah.
just give it a 7 because oh, it
It
didn't
weighed
quite feel
more
like a
onto the
6.
seven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was still good even though it was a bit too safe, so I gave it the 7 instead of the 6. But it would have been
Yeah.
easier to have the 6.5, but it's a cop out, so I just went with a 7, and
It
I
is.
still feel well with the review.
Yeah. Off it is sometimes, as you say, a struggle trying to decide on one side of a score. Like, I think a lot of the time with reviews, people are more focused about the score than the actual content,
Yeah.
and it's an utter nightmare for when I'm going over reviews and the reviewed reads like one score, and then so yeah, I'm a stickler for making sure that the review reads like the score. Like, there's no point giving it a really negative review and then slapping an 8 on it because the review doesn't represent the score.
Yeah, and if people actually read through it, then they'll see that straight away, and you kind of
Yeah,
lose a little bit of your legitimacy, I guess, as a
yeah,
reviewer if you don't.
because
I mean, your
it looks like you're
conclusion and everything
pandering.
has to. Yeah, that's it. I mean, if say a Call of Duty comes out, it plays like arse, and it's like a 4 out of 10 game, and then you give it a 9 out of 10, then it just people will just think, well, this guy's just
Yeah, they call you out
yeah,
because, as you say, if it plays like that and you've fully written down like it plays like us, why have you all of a sudden slapped an 8 on it?
yeah. I mean, I
And
don't
then
think I've
a
ever
lot of
been.
marketing campaigns rarely use the quotes or the proper quotes anyway. It's usually, oh, this game got an 8 out of 10, and then they'll pick like one or two lines from the review to make it sound mega positive.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem with it all as well if it doesn't read the same.
Yeah, it. So yeah, what I tend to do, I don't know if any of the other lads do it, but I always start a game at 5.
Yeah.
And then kind of dock and add points as I go on, depending on what I feel should be docked.
Yeah, that sounds alright. I mean, I usually just I'll play the first time I play the game. I'll have a score in my head.
Yeah.
But then it always changes. I remember that the Genso Wanderer that I did. I mean, that one was the score for that was just up and down the whole time I was playing it, and that ended up settling on a 7. But yeah, that's usually what I do. I mean, the score is always the last thing for me.
Yeah.
As
I say, I start everything out as a 5. I write my review out. Then that's when I do the scoring. So I'm like, oh well, I found the audio to be positive, but its graphics weren't great. So add 1 point, take 1 away, and then by the end of it, like with the Little Nightmares, I give that a 9 because really the only fault I could find that I thought was a negative was the fact that the game only really has a 6-hour playtime. I mean, for the 6 hours it's brilliant. I can see it being an issue for some people though.
Yeah, runtimes can be quite an issue.
But I do. It's one of them. I did want a bit more when I finished it, but I think had it gone on a bit more, it may have suffered a bit of fluff.
Yeah, you don't want padding out.
Too much padding.
Yeah.
No. Talking of reviews.
Yeah.
And obviously we've been discussing I've done Little Nightmares. You're doing the Suda 51 Classic Silver Case, I believe.
Yeah, I've got that one on at the minute. Yeah. I mean, I've only just started it. And it's with visual novels, it's a bit... I mean, it does have adventure aspects to it as well, but... Yeah, they're quite difficult to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they're so story-based that... And they don't have as much gameplay in. But then you don't really want to, like...
You don't want to riddle it with spoilers, do you?
Yeah, that's the difficult part.
Because people aren't going to read it when it's full of spoilers.
Yeah, and if people won't want to play the game if you pretty much tell them everything that happens there either. So
exactly. It's
really, really tough to balance out. I mean, I've done quite a few visual novels, so I've kind of got like an handle on how to do them without giving too much of it away. But it's still difficult. They're still difficult for me to do even now.
I think I've done like less than a handful of them because I just struggle because I don't play them that much, to be honest. I'm not a fan of visual novels, and when you key points your story, it's very hard to, because often in an embargo we're told you can only talk up until a certain chapter, and it can be really disappointing when we can only talk up to say chapter 3, and then the story takes a giant nosedive in like chapter 6 or 7, and we can't really mention that. We can say the story suffers pacing, but we can't go into specifics. We can't really say, can we, that the story took a nosedive because embargo, we're not allowed to do that. Yeah, so that can also do it as well. I don't think this one has anything like that, does it? No, you're pretty much free because it is quite an old game now. I mean, obviously, discretion, but
I mean, it does.
Yeah, you should be fine.
For an old game, though, in the options, it actually has a quite nice little feature where you can switch the graphics and everything and transitions and that between HD and original. So if you wanted to, you could play the entire game in its original format if you wanted to, which is quite nice.
Sounds good little feature.
Yeah.
It is one I will take a look at because I think I mentioned it last time, but huge Suda fanboy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite surprised with it, to be honest. With it being like an old game, they've done an alright remaster on it. So it's that one's. I should have the review for that done this weekend. So, yeah.
Yeah. So keep your eyes out for that one, and I should have either over weekend or beginning of the week. I'm doing Dragon Quest Heroes 2.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, without saying too much, it is a huge improvement over the first one. Not that the first one was
Yeah,
a
the first one
bad
was pretty
game,
good, I
but
thought. Yeah.
they seem to have gone out of the way to make it feel a lot more like a Dragon Quest. There's a world map for one, which you're fully free to roam. There's like events that happen as well, like people you can save. There's even like multiplayer specific dungeons as well.
Yeah, that sounds quite good, that one.
Yeah, they've kind of gone out because I know for some reason Tecmo Koei games lately, especially the Warriors games, seem to be lacking the online multiplayer. I don't think Berserk had one.
No. That's just.
No, not that I can remember. I know Berserk was just really light on content, especially for a Koei game. I'm not sure what happened there because Berserk's been going quite a while and they had the stuff there. I mean, the campaign of it was really good, but when you think Koei games, you think like never-ending
Yeah, never ending
amounts of
games.
content. But this had like 13 characters. Outside of the story mode, there was. Can I think what there was? It was called Eclipse mode, and it was 100 floor tower to complete, and that was it.
Hmm.
Really thin.
Yeah, I mean, well, my view of them was kind of skewed a bit because of the complete edition of 8. Dynasty
Yeah,
Warriors 8. I mean,
yeah,
I've
that
had
was a
that
package.
since I got a PS4 and I've still not finished it. It's just crazy the amount of content on that one.
Yeah, well, this one might be one to keep its eye on. I need to play a little bit more first just to see.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more mission variety than the first one had, which was a problem with the original. But so far, it's looking like a very worthy addition to anyone's game library.
Yeah, I might have to look into that one then. I mean, I did pick up the original one not long ago, but I think I gave it to my nephew. I kind of got a bit bored of it, but
Yeah, it got a bit repetitive because it was like it had that whole tower defense thing every mission, and
yeah. But,
fortunately, this, as I say, there's a bit more variety to it.
yeah, that's all it really needed, the original one.
Yeah, and as I say, they seem to have embraced the more RPG features of it. Like you can fully customize your main heroes now. There's a world map. There's loot dungeons you can do with friends. It's still got that whole your friend needs to have completed the mission before they can help you that Koei seem to insist on.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I never bothered with their games online. 'Cause it's just a
Yeah.
headache to get it going.
But beyond that, stunning looking game as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, the original ones, it still surprises me. I mean, for
Yeah,
a Koei game, it just looks amazing.
yeah. I should have over to you as well. We've got birthdays. Birthdays the beginning.
Yeah,
I should
mentioned
have that
before,
to
yeah.
send over. That looks like an interesting game because while you're doing that, I have to. And this is going to be a spoiler for the review, which I haven't even started reading yet. But I have to suffer Akiba's beat.
That should be all right. I mean,
It's not.
Trip was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, Trip was alright.
No, is this one just completely off?
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say so far. I mean, I can only talk about it once again until I think it's the third dungeon, and it's coming at the real wrong time. I mean, it's off the back of Persona 5, and the story is very Persona 5. Unfortunately, the quality of the game is not.
No, that's a shame.
But on one hand, I am actually kind of looking forward to writing that review because I don't enjoy it, but sometimes I find negative reviews easier to write.
Yeah, it sort of breaks the cycle a bit because most of the games, well, most of the time for me it's like 6, 7, 8. Most of the games that I review are kind of like that. So every now and again, you get a game that isn't quite up to par. It's it feels a bit different. It's just a bit of variety, I suppose, when it comes to writing. And it's
one final point. I don't know about you, but how for me, sometimes I really hate having to review a game that I've been looking forward to or that I like, because I struggle to go back to them once I've actually done the review.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that problem pretty much now with Senran Kagura, the one
Yeah.
I did on PS4. It's just I really enjoyed it when I was doing the review, and then since the review, I think I've played it like twice, which is just unheard of for me.
I think it's because you put it under that microscope, that when you go back to it, it just seems like work again.
Yeah, you're still in like a review mode, even though your review's done, so you should be enjoying the game now. But you're playing it and then you're thinking about your review, and it's like,
yeah,
my review's done. I should be enjoying it now.
Yep. So there you have it, folks. Reviewing isn't all good. Sometimes it can ruin in games you enjoy.
It can ruin your life as well if Square writers are anything to go by.
Danganronpa flashbacks.
Yeah, don't remind me of that one.
That's a story for another time. That.
Yeah, well, they can all look forward to that story. We might give it you at Christmas. Have it for Christmas.
Yeah.
The Danganronpa escapade.
Yeah. Why none of us like Danganronpa anymore? So on that point, have you got anything to end the show on?
Well, Steam key giveaway is going to carry on. I'm going to try and get something like Naruto or Dragon Ball. I'm going to try and keep it like
the anime theme.
Yeah, keep it like anime, otaku theme. Try and keep the games like that. So I'll see what I can get for then. I mean, the One Piece one is still going on. So yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. Keep an eye on the site, everyone, for that, and hopefully it's something good and not Danganronpa.
Well, luckily I don't think it's on Steam, that one. Or is it?
I don't know. We usually do kind of get them Steam releases, so should they put it on the Steam, I'll know exactly who to send it over to.
Yeah, we'll send it over to Des. Yeah. Yeah, I think Des wanted one, didn't he?
Yep, he did. I believe he'll be covering Danganronpa 3 when that drops.
That's not bad.
Because Ben reviewed the HD collections of 1 and 2, and it was quite a positive review, which you can read on the site.
Yeah, I remember that one. That's probably the one I was thinking of, to be honest. Ben's Danganronpa HD review. I'm still waiting for him to bring out the spin-off.
Yeah, I think that is later in the year. Obviously heading up PR, as soon as I know about that, we can get cracking on that.
Yeah.
So that is just some of the content you've got to look forward to coming to the site.
Yeah. Oh, and next week I'm going to start recording a new series called Otaku Spotlight. I'm going to be looking at some, just some like Japanese releases. I've got a couple in mind for the PS2, but I'm not too sure which one to do. Because one of them is really, really bad. And then the other one is really, really bad. But then... they're both really, really bad, but they're kind of funny. So I'll see which one tickles my fancy most. So I'll just put it out on Twitter and see which...
Yeah, we can leave it up to a pal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably start doing that next week. Then we can get some more videos alongside the podcast. So it should be alright.
Yeah. Right, well, everyone, keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll have more news on the website when that's going live.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for this podcast in question.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it has. It's been, well, even considering there's only two of us.
Yeah, I'd say it's worked out quite well. Ben, whenever, but bring coffee back.
I know, I'm parched here.
So till next time, hopefully it's me, you, Ben, and I believe Des will be joining us for the next one. We're near enough full house there.
Yeah, near enough. Right, everyone. Yeah, well, we'll see you next week then, everyone.